Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Please let me know in the comment section whether my audio and video is clear so that we can have the class in a smooth and continuous manner. Good morning, Adi. So I was supposed to take up this class yesterday at 8 a.m., but because I was a little busy yesterday, I had a lot of work. I could not take up this class yesterday, so I'm taking it today so that we do not miss out on anything. Okay, I could have skipped this, but it was important that we cover the news on a daily basis and not miss any day. Okay, good morning, Sovik. I hope you guys are studying and reading the newspaper yourself also. After this class, just skim through the paper as well so that you have an idea ki how the paper looks like, what kind of news are there and how it is presented in the newspaper. That is also important. Good morning, Sovik. All clears? Adi, ठीक है. Before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Oliveboard app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDF folder. You can download the PDF from here. कोई यहाँ पे नया है तो I'd like to share my Telegram handle also so that you can join it. Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle, right? ठीक है, Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. So if you want, you can connect with me over here. ठीक है? Good morning, Karan. So what are we going to cover today? Let's take a look at that. Indian economy to grow 7% or more in financial year 26. So इंडिया की जीडीपी ग्रोथ से रिलेटेड 3-4 आर्टिकल्स है which we're going to study together uh, in one news, the first news. Then we're going to talk about fiscal deficit which has widened, why it has widened, what are the reasons, what is the meaning of fiscal deficit, that we're going to understand. स्ट्रिक्टर आईडी रूल्स क्या है? आइडेंटिफिकेशन रूल्स, कुछ नहीं है, आइडेंटिफिकेशन रूल्स हैं जो ऑनलाइन मार्केट के लिए, ऑनलाइन मार्केट कंटेंट के लिए लेकर आए हैं सेबी, दैट वी गोइंग टू डिस्कस. देन आईटी डिपार्टमेंट टू नज टैक्स पेयर्स टू डिक्लेयर फॉरेन वेल्थ. तो जितने लोगों के पास अपने फॉरेन एसेट्स हैं जो वो डिक्लेयर नहीं करते, यहाँ पे आईटी डिपार्टमेंट की बात हो रही है कि वो नज करेंगे, यानी कि लोगों को परसुएट करेंगे कि वो डिक्लेयर करें कितना उनके पास फॉरेन वेल्थ है. Then we're going to discuss some fact-based news and then MCQ practice at the end. ठीक है? Good morning, Kevlin. Right? So first आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं Indian economy to grow 7% or more in financial year 26, ये आर्टिकल है. फिर यहाँ पे एक और आया है Q2 GDP growth surprises at 8.2%. Rate cut is unlikely. तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि अब Q1 में हम कह रहे थे 7.8, Q2 में हम कह रहे हैं कि भाई 8.2, सॉरी 7.2 या 7.8 है ना, ये हम बात कर रहे थे. अब Q2 में 8.2% ग्रोथ की बात हो रही है, राइट? तो वी आर गोइंग टू सी व्हाट दिस इज. फिर यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप इंडिया ग्रोथ मोमेंटम टू कंटिन्यू, ये इकोनॉमिक रिव्यू के अकॉर्डिंगली. तो हम इन सब आर्टिकल्स को क्लब करके वी आर गोइंग टू चेक आउट दिस, कि इसमें क्या कह रहे हैं. देखो, जो चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर, एक तो आपको उसका उनका नाम पता होना चाहिए. चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर, हु इज द चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर? वी अनंत नागेश्वर. ठीक है? उन्होंने कहा है दैट इंडियन इकोनॉमी इज लाइकली टू ग्रो एट 7% और मोर. क्या कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे? 7% से ज्यादा हमारी फाइनेंशियल 26 में ग्रोथ होगी. अब रीजंस क्या दिए हैं यहाँ पे कि हमारी जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर है, फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज है, कंजम्पशन, ये बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में हमारा मोमेंटम अच्छा है, हमारी परफॉर्मेंस स्ट्रांग है. कंजम्पशन डिमांड हमारी बढ़ी है और हमें पता है ये क्यों बढ़ी है, बिकॉज ऑफ इनकम टैक्स जो कट इस बार लेकर आई थी गवर्नमेंट, इनकम टैक्स रैशनलाइजेशन, फिर जीएसटी रैशनलाइजेशन, जो जीएसटी कट्स लेकर आई थी, उस वजह से जो हमारी कंजम्पशन डिमांड है वो बूस्ट हुई है. हमारी फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज स्ट्रांग हो गए हैं, हमारा जो बैंकिंग सेक्टर है, फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम है, वो काफी रोबस्ट है, जिस वजह से वी कैन सी अ स्ट्रांग ग्रोथ इन द इंडियन इकोनॉमी. ठीक है? प्लस स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स जो हम लेकर आए हैं इतने सालों से, वो भी बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है? तो जो हमारा इकोनॉमिक सर्वे की रेंज थी, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने क्या कहा था कि फाइनेंशियल ईयर 26 6.3 से 6.8% के बीच में ग्रो होगी, लेकिन इसे हमें अपग्रेड कर दिया है. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं अनंत नागेश्वरन जी ने क्या कहा है कि 7% से द ग्रोथ इज लाइकली. Q1 फाइनेंशियल 25 की ग्रोथ 7.8, हाँ तो मैंने यहाँ पे 7.8 लिखा था, राइट? तो 7.8 ही है, 7.2 नहीं है. ठीक है? Q1 में 7.8% से हमारी ग्रोथ हुई है और Q2 में कह रहे हैं 8.2%. ठीक है? एंड फाइनेंशियल 25 में इवन रीच, जो हमारी ओवरऑल ग्रोथ है इस साल की, इट माइट इवन रीच 7.5%. और ये डिपेंड करेगा Q3 Q4 पे कि Q3 Q4 कैसे परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. ठीक है? और नागेश्वरन जी ने मेंशन किया है कि कुछ नेगेटिव भी हैं ऑब्वियसली, चाहे हम इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे, ग्लोबल लेवल पे, फॉरेन लेवल की बात करें तो कुछ रिस्क अटैच्ड हैं, जैसे कि नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट रह सकता है फ्रॉम ग्लोबल अनसर्टनिटीज, जैसे यूएस का फेडरल इंटरेस्ट रेट की वजह से हो सकता है कि हमारे ऊपर इम्पैक्ट पड़े। इंडिया ब्रॉड बेस्ड ग्रोथ देख रहा है, जो हमारा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स है वो इम्प्रूव हुआ है, जो एक्सपेंशन इंडिकेट करता है। यहाँ पे हमें समझना है कि व्हाट इज द परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स। इफ एनीवन नोज, राइट डाउन इन द कमेंट सेक्शन। कौन बताएगा कि परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स है क्या? आई हैव टोल्ड दिस मेनी टाइम्स इन माय लाइवमेंट एनालिसिस क्लास ओनली, लेकिन क्योंकि यहाँ कुछ नए बच्चे हैं, कुछ न्यू स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो आई एम नॉट श्योर वेदर आई हैव डिस्कस दिस बिफोर और नॉट। तो आप मुझे बताएंगे पीएमआई परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स है क्या, किस चीज का इंडेक्स है, और इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, इसकी जो वैल्यू है उसे हम किस तरह से देखते हैं? आप मुझे एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में जरूर बताएं, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पीएमआई कह रहे हैं वो एक्सपेंशन इंडिकेट कर रहा है। डोमेस्टिक जो ड्राइवर्स है, अर्बन कंजम्पशन हो गया, कंजम्पशन एक्टिविटी, फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, जो यूटिलिटीज है, ये सब काफी स्ट्रांग है, इसलिए इंडिया का मोमेंटम काफी ज्यादा सही है। सरप्राइजिंग 8.2% कि हमने ग्रोथ देखी है, 8.2% जीडीपी ग्रोथ इन सेकंड क्वार्टर ऑफ फाइनेंशियल 25, जो जुलाई टू सितंबर वाला क्वार्टर है उसमें हमने 8.2% ग्रोथ देखी है, ठीक है। आरबीआई की प्रोजेक्शन हायर, आरबीआई की प्रोजेक्शन से काफी हायर 7.2% आरबीआई की प्रोजेक्शन थी। मिंट के जो पोल एस्टिमेट है, जो इकोनॉमिस्ट ने कहा था, उन्होंने भी 7.2% एस्टिमेट किया था, लेकिन हमने क्या देखा, 8.2% ग्रोथ। क्या रीजन है इसके? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग आउटपुट अच्छा है, फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, हाई कंजम्पशन डिमांड, पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंटेशन अच्छी है। जीवीए जो ग्रॉस वैल्यू एडेड है वो भी 7.8% से बढ़ा है, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे ग्रॉस वैल्यू एडेड और जीडीपी में भी हमें फर्क पड़ता होना चाहिए। देखो, जो ग्रॉस वैल्यू एडेड है वो हम सप्लाई साइड से चेक करते हैं, और जो जीडीपी है वो हम डिमांड साइड से चेक करते हैं। यूजुअली कौन से फॉर्मूला से हम जीवीए निकालते हैं? वैल्यू एडेड या फिर प्रोडक्ट मेथड, ठीक है। वैल्यू एडेड या प्रोडक्ट मेथड से हम जीवीए निकालते हैं, एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड से हम जीडीपी निकालते हैं। तो यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि जो एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड के थ्रू तो हमारा 8.2% रहा है सेकंड क्वार्टर का ग्रोथ, और सप्लाई साइड यानी कि जीवीए के अकॉर्डिंग 7.8%, विच इज बोथ, सो these both things are a very इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग एंड शोज दैट कि इंडिया में कितना ज्यादा अच्छा ग्रोथ मोमेंटम चल रहा है। अब यहाँ पे आई आस्क्ड यू कि परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स क्या है, पीएमआई क्या है, बट किसी ने नहीं बताया, दैट मींस यू डू नॉट नो। तो परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स का क्या मतलब है कि हम क्या करते हैं कि जो भी बिजनेसमैन हैं, परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स, जो मैनेजर्स परचेजिंग का काम करते हैं कंपनीज में, जो बिजनेसमैन हैं, हम उनका सर्वे करते हैं, उनसे पूछते हैं कि भाई व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि हमारी इकोनॉमी अभी ग्रो करेगी या एक्सपैंड करेगी या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेगी? आपको क्या लगता है कि अभी शॉर्ट टर्म नेक्स्ट मंथ में, या फिर आपको क्या लग रहा है बिजनेस एक्टिविटी बढ़ेगी या कम होगी? तो हम इनसे सर्वे सर्वे करते हैं बिजनेस एक्टिविटी के बारे में जानने के लिए, उनका कॉन्फिडेंस क्या है मार्केट को लेकर, कॉन्फिडेंस क्या है उनका बिजनेस को लेकर, वो हम उनसे पूछते हैं। इसमें जो वैल्यू है 1 से 100 के बीच में, 0 to 100 के बीच में लाई करती है। अगर तो इसकी वैल्यू 50 से ज्यादा है तो हम कहते हैं कि एक्सपेंशन होगी, अगर इसकी वैल्यू 50 से कम है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होगी, अगर इसकी वैल्यू 50 से इक्वल है ना, इट इज इक्वल टू 50, तो न्यूट्रल है, ना एक्सपेंशन दिख रहा है ना कॉन्ट्रैक्शन। ये जो पीएमआई है हम सर्विसेज के लिए भी निकालते हैं, सर्विसेज के लिए, हम ये मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के लिए भी निकालते हैं। तो इससे हमें ये पता चल जाता है दैट दैट कि हमारा जो नेक्स्ट मंथ में या फिर बहुत नियर में हम एक्सपेंशन देखेंगे या कॉन्ट्रैक्शन देखेंगे बिजनेस एक्टिविटी में। तो यहाँ पे क्या कह रहे थे कि जो हमारा यहाँ पे कह रहे थे कि जो हमारा परचेजिंग मैनेजर्स इंडेक्स है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का, वो भी एक्सपेंशन इंडिकेट कर रहा था, राइट। तो आई होप दिस इज क्लियर, ये पीएमआई क्या है ये आपको क्लियर होना चाहिए, ठीक है। इंडिया इज पोइज्ड टू मेंटेन 7 to 7.5% ग्रोथ इन फाइनेंशियल 26, ये भी कहा गया है, इकोनॉमिक रिव्यू के अकॉर्डिंग है। ये कंजम्पशन हमारी अच्छी है, इन्फ्लेशन हमारी काफी ईज्ड आउट है ना, टैक्स और पॉलिसी रिफॉर्म से भी हमें पॉजिटिव आउटकम देख रहे हैं। फाइन। वैसे तो क्वार्टर टू के जो एस्टिमेट्स हैं 7 to 7.5% में कहा था, लेकिन 8.2% हमें देख लिया है कि 8.2% से ग्रो हुआ है। रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन आप देख सकते हैं 1.44%, जो हमारा फ्लेक्सिबल इन्फ्लेशन टारगेटिंग फ्रेमवर्क है, जिसमें हमने अपनी इन्फ्लेशन को 2 to 6% के बीच रखना है, उससे भी काफी ज्यादा कम हुई है, 1.44% पे हुई है इन सितंबर, और 0.25% अक्टूबर, आप देख सकते हैं, ठीक है। सेक्टोरल ट्रेंड्स की बात करें, कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर काफी सही है, पावर डिमांड सिग्नल्स अच्छे हैं, अर्बन डिमांड अच्छा है, रूरल डिमांड अच्छा है, एक्सटर्नल रिस्क्स भी हैं जैसे जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशंस, स्लोअर ग्लोबल ग्रोथ विच माइट अफेक्ट दी एक्सपोर्ट्स, तो ये कुछ रिस्क्स भी हैं, लेकिन ओवरऑल but overall, this is a very good thing. Okay. Then we have another news over here related to fiscal deficit, which has widened on higher capital expenditure, lower tax. Now, what reasons they are giving? First of all, I want all of you to tell me in the comment section what is the meaning of fiscal deficit. This is a very important term which you all must know. Okay, you need to know what is fiscal deficit. You need to know all other deficits, like we have primary deficit, we have revenue deficit, we have budgetary deficit, we have monetized deficits. So your homework I'm giving you, that you have to read about the types of deficit. So this is your homework. आपने क्या पढ़ना है? You have to read about the types of deficits. ठीक है? This is your homework. My question here is, who is going to tell me what is the meaning of fiscal deficit? Because what they are saying is that fiscal deficit has widened, yani ki the gap has increased. Fiscal deficit has increased. Why? Reason, first of all, that our capital expenditure has increased. Secondly, lower tax. Lower tax, why? Because income tax is also rationalized. GST has also been rationalized, because of which this expenditure has increased, but our revenue, on the other hand, is still, our revenue has reduced because of these things. Okay? Income and expenditure difference when expenditure is more. Okay? So fiscal deficit is nothing but the difference between total expenditure and total receipts. Okay? Just one second, let me change the color of the pen. So your fiscal deficit is nothing but total expenditure minus total receipts excluding borrowing. Now again, I have a question here. Why do we exclude borrowing over here? Can anyone tell me? Why do we exclude borrowing? What is the reason? Why do we exclude borrowing? Fiscal deficit is the government expenditure is more than borrowing. Government expenditure is more than government revenue, not borrowing. Okay? Fiscal deficit, what do we do is total expenditure minus total revenue, and we exclude borrowings. That how much excess of expenditure is there over the revenue receipts. That means we are basically checking about this gap, that are we able to meet our expenses with the revenue that we are earning. That revenue can be from taxes and all, it can be from disinvestment proceeds and all. Total ki baat kar rahe hain, we talking about total over here. But why do we exclude borrowing? So that we get the actual gap, because if we borrow, then this revenue part will increase and the gap will reduce, obviously, because capital revenue mein we include borrowings also, hai na, capital receipts mein. So fiscal deficit over here has widened. This gap has widened because reasons, capital expenditure has increased, which is obviously a good thing in the long run. Capital expenditure increase hona is a good thing in the long run, but along with that, the tax revenue, the revenue that we have collected through taxes, that has reduced because we brought some changes this year. That is the reason. Okay? So if you see, fiscal deficit for April to October stood at 8.25 trillion rupees, which is 52.6% of the financial year 26 budget. So you can see here fiscal deficit has increased a lot. Fiscal deficit a year ago was 7.51 trillion, 46.5% of the budget target. And you can see from 46.5% it has increased to 52.6%. Fiscal deficit target for financial year 26 is 4.4% of GDP. Okay, so the fiscal deficit target for financial year 26 is 4.4% of GDP. This target, you have to remember that we have to reduce our fiscal deficit to 4.4%. Yes, exactly, Hemant. You are right. Okay. If I talk about net tax revenue, 12.74 trillion is the net tax revenue from April to October, 44.9% of budget target, which is a lot. ठीक है. But previous year it was 50.5%, which has reduced this year. So our revenue target has reduced because of because of this, the changes that we have brought in this year. ठीक है. Fine. So non-tax revenue you can see here, financial year 26, 4.89 trillion, which is equal to 83.9% of annual target, and previous year it was 3.99 trillion. So non-tax revenue is strong because RBI had passed good amount of dividend. See what happens is RBI also earns a lot of money. After taking out all the expenses, whatever extra money is left, RBI transfers the surplus to the government. This year RBI dividend was quite high. Spectrum fees was good. PSU profits were good. So because of this, your non-tax revenue was better than the collection of tax revenue. Revenue receipts 17.63 trillion or 51.6% of budget estimate, and previous year it was 17.23 trillion, 53.7% of the target. Expenditure, our expenditure is 26.26%, so you can see expenditure is greater than receipts. Okay, capital expenditure 6.18 trillion rupees, 55.1% of the target. So you can see here that fiscal deficit has widened. In short, okay, here you need to know the meaning of fiscal deficit. And how are we linking it with the static portion? Because static portion we have to cover the types of deficits. Types of deficits are to be covered from your static portion. This is your homework. Fine. SEBI moved stricter ID rules for online market content. We have another news over here. What we are talking about, ID rules here. ID rules are nothing but rules related to identity disclosure of financial entities. So those financial entities which are online, which are operating online, we have to bring in the identification rules. SEBI is saying that we need to bring in these identification rules. SEBI has proposed that all regulated financial entities, all financial entities which are regulated, which come under the regulatory power of SEBI, what do they have to do? Please remember these details. What do they have to do? These details are to be remembered directly. MCQ can be asked. They have to display their name and registration number first of all on the homepage of their social media handles and on every social media post related to investment content. So their name and registration number has to be displayed everywhere wherever they are, promoting themselves, whether we are talking about any social media handle or any kind of social media post also related to investment content. Related to which content? Investment content. Can anyone tell me what might be the reason? What might be the reason? What is the risk with these social media platforms related to investment and all? Investment content in the sense that you should start investing in this fund, this is a very good fund, and this will give you these many returns and all. So that kind of content pay, what they're saying is that whatever, whatever financial entities are there, they have to, put their name and registration number on the display. Fraud, loss of people, misleading information. Exactly. Because what was happening is, koi bhi aise imposter, we have these imposter firms or imposter financial entities. What do is they do fraud, in the name of a legitimate financial institutions. They lure the people ki you should put up money in this investment, and this give you this much return and all that, and then they basically do fraud with these people. So we want to reduce that. We want to curb this misleading information. We want to curb any kind of fraud. That is why SEBI has mandated that identification, your name, your display name, you have to display your name and registration number, so that your legitimate, that whether you're a legitimate financial entity or not, that can be checked by the customers. Now this is going to be applied to all financial entities like mutual funds, brokers, investment advisors, research analysts, distributors, every entity which is regulated by SEBI. So what is the objective? We want to curb misleading investment content, any post which is manipulative and which is playing with the minds of the people, imposters posing as financial experts. So there are imposters who have no knowledge, but they present themselves as finance experts, and then they try to bring in their information which people follow, and then they're basically trying to commit fraud in that case. If there are unregistered advisors, they should not be exploiting the retail investors. So we have to, that is why display your name and all has to be displayed. Okay? The fraudsters, unregistered persons, they are misleading investors through false claims, guaranteed return suggestions ki acha you will, if you put 20,000 rupees, guaranteed double the amount of money you're going to get in 1 month, है ना. They provide stock tips which are misleading. We should not really focus on them, है ना. आज के लिए ये 3 stock खरीद लो and all that, like that. Manipulative promotional content. SEBI has flagged over 10,000 instances. So around 10,000 instances we are seeing ki, have happened. And major platforms have been alerted like Meta, Google, Telegram, Twitter, X now, right? Now, what all content will be restricted? Promises of risk-free or assured returns. You can't really promise a risk-free return कि अच्छा 40,000 की आपको double होके 80,000 होके you're going to get it. Like that, you're not supposed to promise such things. है ना. Future performance claims, this stock will double, like that, है ना. Guarantees regarding market movements, content designed to directly or indirectly influence investors without disclosure. So all these things will be restricted. Entities, what did SEBI say? That entities, they cannot refer to SEBI or its officials to legitimize advice, and you must ensure there is effective monitoring. Burden of verification lies with SEBI. ठीक है? हाँ, okay, Hemant, right. ठीक है? It's basically people who do not have the knowledge. They, they do not, people who do not have the knowledge, they are usually, misled. Yes, exactly. So knowledge is important. The knowledge is power over here. You have money, you don't have money. Knowledge is the crux of it, right? Social media and survey findings. So basically, this survey was conducted of 90,000 households, and we saw that 92% of retail investors rely on financial influencers. You can 62% rely on financial influencers. And credibility of these influencers is very high. 93% followers consider them very, very credible, but they consider them as credible, but these sometimes can be false also. These claims and all, they can be false also. Okay, fine. So this was basically the first social media perception survey in 10 years. SEBI is basically attempting to boost transparency, investor protection, regulate a fast growing but unregulated fin influencer ecosystem. है ना. जो भी we have financial experts, those influencers which are treating themselves as financial experts, they are trying to mislead the people here, है ना. ठीक है. So we want to regulate them. Next news is that IT department to nudge taxpayers to declare foreign wealth. Nudging. What is the meaning of nudging over here? What is the meaning of the word nudge over here? Is that we are not directly telling them ki disclose your foreign wealth. No. They are trying to portray things in such a manner that people will themselves declare their foreign wealth. So nudging is a very good strategy. ठीक है. It's like किसी को हमें persuade करना. Nudging is like a persuasion strategy that we are not telling people directly what to do, but we are influencing their behavior in such a manner that they're going to tell me the whatever I am designing. For example, what do we do is we portray in front of children, and that this is a good habit, this is a wrong habit. So we try to portray them in front of them so that we can nudge their behavior, so that we can change their behavior. This nudging strategy is used in social media also. For example, social media or by the government also. For example, government wants that everybody should focus on environmental friendly activities. So rather than imposing some rules and regulations, they try to sensitize the people, spread awareness and all, nudge them to themselves take a step towards conserving the environment. So nudging is that kind of a strategy. So IT department is trying to nudge the taxpayer so that they are going to declare their wealth. So how are they going to nudge them? By bringing in a nudge campaign. Okay, they are going to start a campaign wherein they are going to make people aware. They are going to contact around 25,000 high risk taxpayers who are suspected of holding undisclosed foreign income or foreign assets. So around 25,000 high risk taxpayers are going to be targeted over here. They will receive SMS, they'll receive emails, advisory to voluntarily review and revise their income tax returns before December end. So we are going to regularly remind them you have to file your IT return, and SMS we are going to send them time to time. We are going to send them emails. We are going to nudge them कि they disclose their information on their own. ठीक है. So first campaign was done in November 2024, which led to disclosure of 30,000 crores. So you can see around 30,000 crore amount of money was disclosed by the people. Foreign assets were disclosed by the people. So you can see that this nudge campaign actually works. 24,678 taxpayers had responded. ठीक है. Cases were flagged because of mismatch between tax return data. What problem was there? Because there was a mismatch between tax return data, information from global exchanges under common reporting standard. है ना? So there was a mismatch between the data and all. That's why we are nudging them to disclose your assets properly. ठीक है. We have this Black Money Act, penalties for which provides penalties for foreign assets and income, है ना? So how much penalty is put under the Black Money Act? 120% penalty under Black Money Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets Act of 2015. So which puts it 30% tax and 90% penalty plus interest, possible persecution. That is why. So we try to nudge people. We tell them कि अगर हमने पकड़ लिया तो we are going to put you through the Black Money Act. So it's better you disclose your information on your own, so that because some or the other way we are going to find out how many foreign assets you have. So it's better you disclose your foreign assets on your own only. So this is how we nudge the people, and then they bring in they tell us the details also. So first is starting in 20 this first starting November, this phase one. Okay, this new campaign, around 25,000 taxpayers are going to be impacted. Then second phase, mid December, all the remaining cases and non-responsive taxpayers and all, we're going to nudge them then. Why this matters is because India faces a lot of unreported foreign income, capital flight matlab paisa going outside of the country, offshore tax evasion. So these are some problems that we are facing, because of which there's a lot of black money in the economy. So we want to basically nudge the people that they should disclose their bank account details, asset information and all. है ना? CBDT urges the taxpayers to voluntarily revise the returns, disclose foreign bank assets, investments, properties and all, avoid penalties, persecution. ठीक है. The economic impact will be that this is going to curb tax evasion. It is going to expand tax base. Tax evasion matlab when people use methods to not pay tax. Expanding tax base, those people who pay tax, that base should be expanded. More and more people should come under the ambit, because that is going to really improve the revenue of the government also. It is going to strengthen India's fiscal stability. Our fiscal performance will be very, very good, and it is going to enhance our credit worthiness also at the global level. Now, these were the important detailed news articles that we had to discuss. I hope you guys have understood how to read the newspaper, which all important news articles are going to be there, how to link it with the static portion. For example, fiscal deficit is in news, so fiscal deficit becomes all the more important. GDP is in news. GDP was in news that it has grown. So we need to know the difference between gross value added. We need to know the difference between GVA, GDP. Here we need to know the difference of types of calculation of national income. We need to know the national income concepts basically. This is how you have to connect with the static portion, and then cover your static syllabus also. Then we have some fact based news. For example, India-UAE are going to review the trade agreement to ease market access. See, all those who have prepared for your IFSC examination, you would know about this TRQ, tariff rate quota agreement between tariff rate quota agreement between UAE and India. Between UAE and India. Okay? What is this tariff rate quota agreement? This is related to your gold imports. If you see the word here, tariff is also used, tariff rate also is used, and quota is also reduced. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between a tariff and a quota? These are types of restriction of types of restricting imports, or you can say curb imports and all, है ना? तो यहाँ पे I am asking that what is the difference between tariff and quota? Can anyone tell me in the comment section? Anybody? Tariff and quota. What is the difference between the two? Yes अपना NABARD के लिए भी important है, very important because you have ESI in NABARD है ना, so that is important sapna. Okay, tariffs are tax imposed quotas restriction on quantity of goods. Very good Kevin. So what I'm asking is tariff is like a tax. When you putting a percentage ki itna tax will be there and a 10% tax is going to be there, 15% tax is going to be there. So tariffs are like taxes on import of goods. Quota, on the other hand, is a quantitative restriction. That means what are we trying to do is we are restricting the amount of imports, not the money. We're not putting in monetary transaction, monetary tax. We are saying that you can only import 100 units of this commodity. That is your quota. Okay. Now, tariff rate quota. What is the meaning of tariff rate quota over here? This means that up to a certain limit, say 100 units, up to 100 units there is not going to be any tariff. So this is basically 100 units तक we are restricting. ठीक है कि ठीक है, we won't put up tariff, but beyond this, beyond these 100 units if you import, then there is going to be a tariff. This is a combination of tariff and quota. So according to this TRQ agreement related to gold imports between India and UAE, what had we seen? Ki up to a certain limit of import of gold from UAE, we are not going to put up a tariff. But beyond that limit, beyond that quantity limit, we are going to put a tariff. We are going to put a tariff beyond that limit. That is your TRQ agreement. So now UAE is going to review the trade agreement to ease market access. So this trade agreement will be reviewed by India and UAE so that market access is improved further. ठीक है, so this is a comprehensive economic partnership agreement between India and UAE, SEPA. ठीक है, and they met in Delhi to review the implementation of the SEPA. ठीक है, India and UAE. What is the goal? Ease market access, remove any kind of trade restriction or friction, improve the regulatory environment. SEPA was basically signed in 2022, and these both countries, they are working for improving market access. Regulatory processes should be smooth, faster movement of goods. So India and UAE bilateral trade it had increased by 1/5, by 20%. It reached $100.606 billion in financial 25. You can see this amount of trade. And UAE is a very important economic partner of India, right? So what are the issues that they have discussed in their meeting related to gold import quotas? We have discussed about this TRQ, like I've told you. Data sharing issues, what data, how much amount of data should be shared and all. Rules of origin certification. What is the meaning of rules of origin? See, what happens is a product can be China manufactured. Okay, that means origin of this manufacturing can be from China, but India is importing these China manufactured goods from Vietnam. Vietnam might be supplying these goods to India, but originally it has been made in China. So rules of origin certification in the sense ki India should know that this is a product from China. For example, India has said that from China the import tariff is going to be 50%, for example. But from Vietnam, if we import the same commodity, it is 30% tariff. So Chinese people, what do is they can sell the product in India through Vietnam, wherein they have to put a less amount of tax, 30%. Okay? So rules of origin certifications deals with these kind of problems. I hope this is clear. Then regulatory coordination for products requiring technical clearing. So if there is any product which requires technical clearance and all, so regulatory coordination should be enhanced and improved. So here we are saying that India has shifted to competitive bidding for gold tariff rate quotas. Competitive bidding was an auction system. Pehle there was a fixed kind of a system. Okay, it was fixed and it was decided, pre-decided, but now we are going to do it auction based. Okay, auction based bidding karenge for these gold tariff rate quotas. Fine. This means right to import gold under preferential tariff will no longer be allocated based on discretion. तो पहले based on discretion नहीं, पहले से ही decided नहीं होगा, fixed नहीं होगा. ठीक है कि preferential tariff, what should that be? But on an auction process के through this is going to be decided. This is going to improve transparency and predictable access for domestic jewelers also. ठीक है, this TRQ system, it lowers or zero tariff imports for a specific quantity, है ना, कि up to 100 units there's not going to be any tariff. Beyond this, we are going to put in tariff, a percentage of tariff. That is your tariff rate quota system. Okay, fine. What are the Indian demands from UAE? India wants improved certification procedures, clearer product specific rules. These benefits will affect sectors like food products, engineering goods, pharmaceuticals, textiles. So, यहाँ सबको it is going to be impacting these. It is very important for UAE because UAE is a major re-export hub for Africa and West Asia. ठीक है, higher UAE market access means our exports will be boosted because UAE is also has trade and all with Africa, West Asia. So our product will be sent over there also. So it is going to really boost our exports. And we know because of these US tariffs, our exports have reduced a lot, right? Then we have Paytm gets nod for payment aggregator. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of payment aggregator? What is the meaning of payment aggregator? Anybody? What is the meaning of payment aggregator? Any idea, anyone? That means now Paytm will also act as a payment aggregator. Anybody, write down in the comment section and tell me. Anji Sapna, Kevlin, Hemant, Adi, G. Krishnanjana, Dhinisha, Karan, Sovik, all of you, any idea? They facilitate transactions. Yes, absolutely correct. What is the meaning of payment aggregator? Just you might have read Razor Pay, UPI and all, है ना? What happens is there is a merchant, है ना? There is a merchant. Merchant is somebody who sells goods and services, and जो business वगैरह वाले goods and services, those who sell, those are merchants. They have this point of presence items like QR codes and all, है ना? QR codes and all. Now, I am a person, I want to buy. I am a buyer of goods from this merchant. Rather than directly, connecting with the bank, what does a merchant do? Merchant uses the payment aggregators to receive payments like Paytm, UPI, your Phone Pay, Google Pay, and all. है ना? So they help in facilitating the transactions. Those are payment aggregators. So Reserve Bank of India, it has granted certificate of authorization to PPSL. PPSL is a Paytm Payment Services Limited. It has received payment aggregator. This is a subsidiary of 197 Communications. Okay? And permanent aggregator. Now Paytm has got permanent aggregator status, ठीक है, under the Payment and Settlement System Act of 2007. Sometimes directly MCQ can be asked that payment aggregator, the authorization given to Paytm as a payment aggregator under, they might give some other act. So you have to remember Payment and Settlement Act. Well, so RBI had already given August 2025, it had given approval, but final certification was provided on 26th November. Okay, RBI has removed restrictions with the with on PPSL. Pehle what happened was restrictions were put on in 2022 on this Paytm to act as a payment aggregator, but now these have been released. Why? Because that time there was some problem related to FDI rules. Okay, there was some problem that they were not going according to these FDI rules. Paytm, they were not disclosing. They did not disclose. I hope you guys were aware of this. This happened in Singapore, है ना? They did not disclose some important information related to the FDI and all, and that is why restrictions were put on Paytm. ठीक है, अब PPSL applied for PA license under guidelines for regulation of payment aggregator and payment gateways, and in November 22 RBI had rejected because of these FDI rules, but now RBI has provided in principle approval, and also certificate of authorization has been provided to the payment aggregator. I hope this is clear. I hope the meaning of payment aggregator is clear to all of you. Okay, and what do they do? What is the reason? What was the problem? What was the problem that Paytm was facing? Okay, why it was approval was not provided? Because they were not meeting some requirements related to FDI rules which have been mentioned in press note 3. Okay, fine. Now let's do a few MCQs. These were all the important news articles, you know. Apart from that, okay, this was the short news. Okay. RBI repeals 9400 old circulars to facilitate compliance. So this was a short news over here that 9400 old circulars have been repealed by RBI. You can see here. So this has really helped in compliance, because pehle what used to happen, because of these circulars people had to comply a lot, so many regulatory hurdles and all, compliances were very much है ना. So we are going to replace. So, 244 consolidated master circulars on Friday. We are going to bring in 244 consolidated circulars, and all other 9400 circulars will be repealed. Okay? So, the question you can get from here is, what replaces the 9400 old circulars? New RBI Act, RBI working papers, banking ombudsman guidelines, updated financial stability reports, or 2244 consolidated master directions. So what is going to be the answer over here? Such kind of a question can be made from there. What replaces the 9400 old circulars? Quickly, I want everybody giving me the answer. Absolutely correct. 244 consolidated master directions. Second question. What was the primary objective of repealing 9400 circulars? Increasing bank profits, expand bank branches, RBI branches, remove small finance banks, reduce redundancy and facilitate compliance, merge PSUs. Absolutely correct. Reduce redundancy and facilitate compliance. Third question. How many old circulars and guidelines did RBI repeal? 2000, 4500, 7800, 9400, 12,000. Okay? Why we are doing this? That such things you have to learn and remember. What is the answer? Yes, 9400. You know, this was easy. Next, nuclear power sector to open for private players soon. This has been, said by Narendra Modi ji that India's nuclear power sector will be open for the private players so that energy security can be enhanced. Why are we letting the private sector in promoting nuclear energy? Because see, nuclear power sector requires money, time, effort, है ना, and efficiency. So we are including the private players so that they can invest their money, they can enhance the capabilities of the nuclear energy, है ना? Right? So that is the reason. So according to PM Narendra Modi, why will India open nuclear power sector to private players? To promote space research, to strengthen energy security, to boost defense exports, to reduce electricity tariffs, to privatize existing nuclear plants. What is the major reason why are we allowing these people to the private players to uh, come in the nuclear power sector? What is the major reason? B, absolutely correct. To strengthen energy security. Paytm Payment Services Limited received certificate of authorization from RBI on which date? 25th November 2022, 15th August 25, 26th November 25, 1st October 23, or 30th November 2024. Certificate of authorization. Anji. Fifth question. The correct answer is C, 26 November 2025. Absolutely correct. Certificate of authorization to PPCL was issued under which act? Banking Regulation Act, FEMA Act, Payment and Settlement Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Digital Payments Act. Yes, Payment and Settlement Act of 2007, right? Why is improved access to UAE market strategically important for India? UAE is India's largest oil supplier. UAE is the re-export hub for Africa and West Asia. UAE offers duty-free trade for all Indian goods. UAE holds India's foreign exchange reserves. UAE is India's biggest food supplier. Right. Because UAE is a re-export hub for Africa and West Asia. So if our exports are going to improve to UAE, it is going to further improve to Africa and West Asia. And because we know that exports are, we are facing a lot of problems, related to our export sector because of US tariffs. है ना? The India-UAE SEPA review meeting was co-chaired by whom? Jaishankar ji, Sheikh Abdullah, Ajay Bhadu, Juma Al-Qaid, Nirmala Sitaraman, Juma Al-Mazuri, Piyush Goyal, Sultan Al-Jaber, Amitabh Kant and Umar Al-Olama. I know we've not read this, but it was written in the portion. So it was co-chaired by whom? Any idea? You can give some guesses also. Anybody? Eighth question. Any guesses? I've got Karan has given me the answer as E. Amitabh Kant and Umar Al-Olama. Anybody else? The correct answer is B. It is Ajay Bhadu and Juma Al-Qaid. ठीक है? Fine. So, SEPA between India and UAE was implemented in which year? SEPA initially 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 or 2023? SEPA between India and UAE was implemented in which year? Quickly give me the answer. Absolutely correct, in 2022. Okay, 2022. What was value of India-UAE bilateral trade in financial year 25? 80.5, 90.95.8 billion dollars, $100.06 billion, $110.2 billion, or $125.4 billion dollars. Absolutely correct, $100.06 billion dollars. What is main objective of new IT nudge campaign? Increase GST compliance, encourage voluntary disclosure of foreign assets, promote digital payments, expand domestic tax slabs, or promote corporate tax cuts. Right, to encourage voluntary disclosure of foreign assets or income. Very good. The new SEBI norms aim primarily to curb which of the following SEBI norms? High brokerage fees, algorithmic trading, bond market illiquidity, misleading or manipulative social media investment content, or GST non compliance. Absolutely correct. Misleading, manipulative social media investment content. SEBI's new proposal requires regulated entities to display their name and registration number on website, only advertisements, only online, only long form research reports, only paid promotions, every social media post plus social media homepage. Right, every social media post, every social media homepage. How much capital expenditure was incurred during April to October financial year 26? 4.89 trillion, 5.21, 5.75, 6.18, or 7.34 trillion rupees. Capital expenditure during April to October financial year 26. Quickly. Anji, quickly give me the answer, everyone. Any guesses if you want to give? Capital expenditure in April to October financial year 26. The correct answer is D, 6.18 trillion rupees. ठीक है? B नहीं है, A नहीं है. Answer is D. Fiscal deficit during April to October financial year 26. What percentage of budget estimate? 44.9, 46.5, 50.5, 52.6, 55.1%. The fiscal deficit during this April to October amounts to what percentage of the budget estimate? The answer is D, 52.6%. ये थोड़ा सा data, sometimes ऐसे kind of data can be asked in your question, so you should remember this data, ठीक है? D. So download this PDF and read about the data. As per Finance Ministry's economic review, what is the expected GDP growth range for financial 26? 5 to 5.5, 6 to 6.3, 7 to 7.5, 8 to 8.5 or 9%? According to economic review पूछा है यहाँ पे economic review, ये याद रखना, ठीक है? अनंत नागेश्वरम जी के द्वारा नहीं, बाय इकोनॉमिक रिव्यू, 2 आर्टिकल्स थे ना उसमें, इकोनॉमिक रिव्यू में जो आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे था, है ना, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली क्या था? हाँ, एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट, 7 to 7.5%. Which of the following is a key reason why rate cuts are unlikely despite strong GDP numbers? तो वहां पे क्या था कि GDP strong है हमारा, लेकिन हम rate cuts नहीं लेकर आएंगे, क्यों? Because of falling exports, high fiscal deficit, RBI restructuring NPAs, inflation concerns and food price volatility, weak manufacturing. क्या reason है? Why rate cuts are unlikely? GDP growth हमारी अच्छी है ना, फिर हम rate cut क्यों नहीं लेकर आएंगे? Any idea? Any reason? Major reason? The answer is D, inflation concerns and food price volatility. तो अभी बेशक इन्फ्लेशन अभी कंट्रोल्ड है, लेकिन ये एक मेजर रीजन रहता है क्यों हम रेट कट नहीं लेकर आते, प्लस इन्फ्लेशन तो बहुत ज्यादा कम हो गई है ना? और मतलब लेकिन ये इन्फ्लेशन एक ऐसी चीज है जो कभी भी बढ़ या मतलब बढ़ सकती है, कभी भी फ्लक्चुएट कर सकती है, ठीक है? So that is all from my side, everyone. Thank you so much. If you want to connect with me beyond these sessions, Mannat Educator is my Telegram handle. You can connect with me over there. Okay? Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my Telegram account. If there's anything that you want to ask, you can ask me in the comment section. Otherwise, we'll end the session over here. I hope that these things are clear. I hope you guys have understood what we've done. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead. You guys also keep studying, and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.